Hey everyone, checking in here for February 18th, your astrotherapy update. So, I want to talk about the sun moving into Pisces. So, Pisces as an archetype and as a teacher, it's empathetic. It teaches us to have compassion, both for ourselves and for those around us, right? It's a little bit about offering the benefit of the doubt so you can ask the right questions to understand, right? So often I think we get kind of caught up in, well, this has happened to me, without stepping back to say, hey, what was this person's intentions, right? Or even what are my intentions towards the situation? So there's another element to, right, to Pisces where we kind of jump into what I would call maybe the river of cosmic consciousness, right? There's a natural flow to this, and sometimes it's nice and gentle, and sometimes it's bumpy AF, right? And that's just kind of the way that life goes, right? I think about the Buddhist saying, when they said, well, all life is suffering. And Pisces understands this. Pisces also understands, endings, rebirth, right? It's a cycle that is inevitable, the death and rebirth cycle. Uh, it's just a natural piece of life. So, a nice Piscean theme to focus on is how do you deal with endings, right? Do you deal with them with grace? Are you reflective upon them? Can you deal with them with compassion? Or are you dealing with them maybe a little harder, right? The other octaves of Pisces might be a little bit of avoidance, escapism. It doesn't, sometimes the harder things might feel overwhelming. And it's okay when things get to the point where they feel overwhelming, but at some point you have to come back to earth and kind of ground down. It's a space of intentional surrender, I think, is what I would call it, right? Understanding that life is about not just the imaginative potential that we've created in our head in the daydream, but it's actually about seeing what's happening in the here and now and taking a look at actions, behaviors, activities, right, within ourselves, or maybe it's with other people, a person, a relationship, a situation, and noticing the red flags, right? Is this really going to work in the 3D, or was it just a really nice fantasy, right? We can fall in love with potential sometimes, but at the end of the day, we have to come back to our own boundaries and recognizing what can I offer while this might go to reach its potential, or is it likely it's not going to reach that point and maybe I'm setting myself up for disappointment. So leaning into things such as meditation, so creative activities during this time are really nice. And it's kind of evaluating what is the bigger picture, right? What's the bigger purpose? But don't drown in the existentialism of the purpose of life, right? Maybe you pick something near term, maybe it's long term, right? That you would just have this passionate vision of wanting to create that feels nurturing for you, for those around you. And maybe you focus on, okay, right, how do I want to manifest this or create it, right? Pisces about the unconscious, so it's sitting in a bit of the depths and trying to understand ourselves better, trying to understand what's sitting maybe underneath the surface that we haven't even yet explored. We think about the tarot and its correlation. The moon sign is representative of the Pisces nature, right? It represents illusion, it represents going deeper and kind of unearthing what is hidden, and our desires and our thoughts and our spirit, our energy, right? This is also a nice time to focus on intuitive work, maybe more energetic work, spiritual work that sits in the realms of the unseen, if we speak about the hidden, right? So the invitation here is to take a look and figure out what area of your chart holds Pisces. So, for example, mine's in my seventh house of long term relationships, partnerships. So, it's all about understanding, who am I creating with? What do I want to create with? My Mars sits there. So, making decisions on what I'm doing next based off of my intuitive instincts and how I feel about it. So hopefully that gives you a nice example, and you can look at where Pisces in your chart. Feel free to leave a comment, and I'm happy to help give a little insight too if you don't know exactly what that house means.